All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dig into some seriously timeless wisdom from the Roman philosopher Seneca, all about how to live a life that's truly long and meaningful. And we're pulling it all from his incredible essay on the shortness of life. Okay, let's just jump right in with this quote, because it completely flips a common complaint on its head. See, Seneca isn't just tossing out some feel-good phrase here. Nope. He's making a pretty radical diagnosis about how we mismanage our most valuable and totally non-renewable resource, our time. So where does he start? Well, he goes right for the jugular, tackling one of humanity's oldest grievances. You've heard it, I've heard it, we've all probably said it, that nature was cruel, that it gave us this tiny, fleeting moment on Earth. But Seneca? He fundamentally disagrees. He says, look, life is plenty long. We're given a generous amount of time. The problem isn't the size of the gift, it's that we're terrible custodians of it. He compares life to a great estate. Give it to a good manager and it grows and prospers. But hand it over to a bad one, it's gone in a flash. The problem isn't the length, it's the management. Okay, so if life isn't actually short, why on earth does it feel so short for so many of us? Well, Seneca argues it's because most people don't truly live. Instead, they're just existing. They're in a state he calls being preoccupied. His metaphor for this is just brilliant. He says the mind of a preoccupied person is like a leaky bucket. You can pour all this time, all these experiences, all this knowledge into it, but it's so full of cracks and holes, distractions, anxieties, other people's demands, that nothing of substance ever stays. They're always busy, sure, but they're never actually engaged with their own lives. And what's crazy is how modern this all sounds, right? I mean, take a look at this list. Chasing money, chasing status, getting buried in busy work that doesn't matter, getting lost in social drama. These patterns of distraction are just as real today as they were 2,000 years ago. Seneca saw people living for everyone and everything except themselves. And this gets to the heart of this wild paradox he points out. Think about it. We guard our money, our house, our property like hawks. We'd get furious if a neighbor moved a fence 6 inches onto our lawn. But our time? We let anyone and everyone just walk right in and take it. We give it away like it's worthless. All right, so what's the real cost of all this? What's the price we pay for living this constantly preoccupied life? It's not pretty. Seneca says the biggest thief of life is putting things off. It's that constant waiting for someday. Waiting for the promotion, waiting for retirement, waiting for the kids to grow up. He calls out people who plan to finally start living when they hit 50 or 60. He asks, aren't you ashamed to save only the scraps and leftovers of your life for yourself? We're always deferring living to a future that is absolutely not guaranteed. And this, right here, is the heart of it. For the preoccupied, the past is just a bunch of regrets you don't want to look at. The present, that's just something to rush through. And the future is terrifying. But for the wise person, it's completely different. The past is a library of lessons to draw from. The present is a tool they can actively use, and the future is something they can prepare for. They live in all 3 tenses, and that's what creates a life that feels whole and truly long. And this is the final tragic cost. It's that sudden, horrifying realization that it's over. You were so busy making a living, you totally forgot to make a life. Death shows up, Seneca says, and you've got no choice but to be available for that. But by then, your real life has already zipped right past you. Okay, so that's the problem, and it's a pretty grim picture. But what's the solution? What's Seneca's prescription for a life well lived? How do we stop being so preoccupied and actually start living? His answer is philosophy. Now, when he says philosophy, he doesn't mean you have to be some academic sitting in an ivory tower. He means the active, daily pursuit of wisdom, the study of how to live a good life. It's the art of becoming the careful, intentional guardian of your own time. And here's the game plan. First, the wise person reclaims their time for themselves. And then they do something amazing. They expand their own short life by annexing the past. They don't just live in their own little slice of history. They engage with all of it by learning from the greatest minds who came before them. And I gotta say, I absolutely love this next idea. Seneca is saying you don't have to be stuck with only the circumstances of your birth. You can choose your own intellectual family. You can literally be adopted by Socrates or Aristotle or Zeno. You can inherit their wisdom, talk with them through their writing, and let them be your mentors. This is how you make your one life feel like many. And in the end, Seneca brings it all home. He turns this ancient wisdom into a direct challenge, not to some Roman senator, but to you, to us, right here, right now. He's basically telling us, stop. Hold an audit of your life, right now. Act like a ruthless accountant and go through the books of your own life, but instead of dollars and cents, your currency is time. And these are the tough questions he wants you to ask yourself. Be honest. How much time has been lost to pointless arguments, to social events you dreaded going to mindlessly scrolling? How much time was stolen by worry? And his most cutting question, how many people have plundered your life when you weren't even paying attention? After all that, how much of your life was actually left for you? And really, that's the question Seneca leaves us with, isn't it? His wisdom isn't some dusty historical artifact. It's an urgent, practical call to action for today. It's a challenge to stop squandering the one thing you can never, ever get back and to start living a life that is truly long, not because of how many years it has, but because of how much life you pack into those years.